Hey guys, welcome to this course. Now in this video, let's understand the interface of Grasshopper that you have on the screen right now. So if you have opened up Grasshopper and Rhino, and if you have placed your Grasshopper window right here, as I had demonstrated in the earlier video, then you would actually notice that you have a lot of icons and a lot of tabs on the top over here, and you have a small circular compass-like thing here on the bottom, and you have a canvas-like space over here where we actually do the scripting part. So let's understand one by one what all of these things are. So as you can see on the screen right now, I have enlarged up the Grasshopper window a little bit to explain you better that what all of these things are. So you see you have File, Edit, View, Display, Solution and Help. These tabs are pretty standard for any software that you would open up or you would actually want to learn for the first time. Now under File you have the basic options of New Documents, Open Document, Recent Files, Save, etc. Under Edit, you have all the basic options like Undo, Redo, Cut, Copy, Paste, etc. Under the View tab, you have some weird options like Remote Control Panel, Canvas Toolbar, Component tabs. Now all of these options I will be actually able to explain to you way better when we actually start with some script. Under Display, you have these particular options which says Draw Icons, Draw Fancy Wires and Draw Full Names. Now these three things are related to a component attribute or a component property which I'll explain when we start working with components. Now let's see the other tabs that we have right here. You have a lot of preview options which have to do with the preview of the geometry that you can see in the Rhino window. You have point preview, plane preview, mesh preview and all of those options related to points, planes and meshes when we actually work in the Grasshopper window, and we have all these points, planes and meshes that we can actually view in the Rhino window. This is when you can actually use these tabs to change certain attributes about the points, the planes and the meshes. You also have this gumball option which is exactly like the gumball tool that you have in Rhino. You can actually activate the gumball through Grasshopper into Rhino. So I will come back to that. But you also have a canvas widgets option over here. Now make sure that all of these options are turned on. I'll actually explain one by one what these are. So you have the compass widget, the align widget, the Markov widget, profiler widget and message balloons. So for now, I'll only explain the compass widget. You can see this small circle that you have on the bottom over here. This is basically your compass widget. It will actually help you find out where you have written your script or where you have actually arranged your script if you get lost in this entire canvas. And you also have a Markov widget over here which says what's next. So this widget basically tells you what you have done earlier, just like the command line in Rhino which actually tells you what commands you have used earlier. Similarly, the Markov widget will actually tell you what components you have been using earlier. For the rest of these tabs, with the Align tab, the Profiler tab and the Message Balloons, I'll actually explain when we actually start working with components. Then the next tab you have the Solution tab. Now this has everything to do with running a particular script. We'll see this when we create a script and run it. Then you have the Help tab which is pretty standard. You have the tutorial files option over here. These are some of the scripts that were already there when you had started Grasshopper. So if you recall that when we had opened up the Grasshopper window, we had a small getting started tab and inside the tab we had some examples of a few scripts. Now these are the same scripts. You can actually open any one of them and take a look if you want. Now let's come to this particular tab right here. Now you see that I have a lot of options over here. You might not have so many letters over here. This is because I have a lot of extra plugins installed, and if I expand my Grasshopper window like this, you see I can see the names of some of these tabs, and I cannot see the names of some of these tabs because that's because the names are too long and they actually shorten themselves up by using just one letter or the starting letter of the name of that particular plugin. So in your case you only might have till over here. You might only have till the Display tab, and you might also have a Kangaroo tab over here, but that's completely fine because in order to have so many tabs you have to install extra plugins inside Grasshopper for doing the additional work. Now you also have these tabs right here which appear once you click on any of these options on the top. So for the first one you have parameters. So if you click on parameter, you have geometry, primitive, input and utility tabs under your parameter tab. If you click on math, you have these particular tabs under math. If you click on sets, you have this particular tab under sets. So each tab has a specific set of options and groups of components you can actually use to create scripts. So we will actually take a look at all of these tabs and what they do once we understand the logic of how scripts are made in Grasshopper. So as you can see, we also have this panel right here. So you have a few shortcuts over here. The first one is to open a Grasshopper file. If you click on it, you can actually open an existing Grasshopper file. The second one is to save your existing file. This particular one is to zoom in or zoom out your canvas. Then you have a few zooming options to focus here and there, and you also have this particular option which can save your views. You can actually add named views over here, and this last option, you have a small pencil icon. You can actually click on it and create sketches on your Grasshopper window, okay, just like this. Once you're done, just click on the green icon, and you can use these kinds of sketches to create conceptual ideas or additional words or letters that you might want to use in your scripts. So I'll just delete this for now. You also have some of the preview options over here. These all are preview options, and you can actually find all of these shortcuts under display. You have the same options that you have over here. You also have the shortcuts right here. Now let's minimize the Grasshopper window a little bit. And now let's start to understand what actually happens when you start working in Grasshopper. Now you need to understand something. The way we have arranged the screen over here, you have the Rhino window on the left and you have the Grasshopper window on the right. Now you can imagine the Grasshopper canvas is just like the command line of your Rhino window, which means that whatever we do in our Grasshopper window can be visualized in our Rhino window. So your Grasshopper window is not for actually creating 3D models, it's for creating scripts. And what you do in those scripts, you can actually visualize their results as you do it in your Rhino window. So the perspective window over here in your Rhino viewport is actually to visualize the results of the scripts that you actually do or perform in Grasshopper. So let's see, how do you create a small component or a small script in Grasshopper? What's the logic? Let's take a look at that right now. So you can actually select any of these tabs on the top, select on any of these components and just bring it in on your canvas and start working. But there are two ways of bringing in a component inside your Grasshopper canvas and then start working. The first way is I can easily go to any of these tabs. Say I go to the math tab over here and I go under operators and I click on the addition. Once you click on addition, you see you have something on your mouse right now. You just click on the canvas and you have an addition component right here. You can either do this and bring a component, or there's another way to bring a component. You can just double click on the canvas like this and you can type addition. And you see by the style of the icon or by its name, you can actually recognize that it's this particular addition component that you want. So you can just click on that and you have the same component right here. You can also see under this component I have this particular thing which says 139 milliseconds. Now this is actually this particular widget which says profiler. If I turn off profiler, this thing goes away. If I turn on profiler from over here, it comes back. So this actually tells me how long did this component take to run. So using this profiler widget, you can actually figure out how fast your scripts are working based on the time that it shows you. Now 139 ms means 139 milliseconds. So I have the same component I have created twice. So it's an addition component, and you can see that every component has inputs and outputs. And using these kinds of components, we actually join the inputs and the outputs together like this. And we create scripts and we can actually visualize the result of these particular scripts in our Rhino window. So let's understand the logic of components, wires and scripts in the next video.